If you tell them what they want to hear, they will love you. If you tell them the truth, they will hate you. But the end always belongs to those who tell the truth. Truth-sayers, truth-tellers are not popular. They're not liked, but they are respected. Nobody likes the one who tells the truth. Nobody likes the one who tells the truth. A burden comes with the truth. But the truth is what sets us free. I don't think we've come to understand what that really means yet, but it's something we need to learn how to appreciate. Truth. That's what really sets us free. That's what really empowers us. But there's work in the truth. There's a demand to change in the truth. The truth may not agree with or it may not flatter you, but it will set you free. Truth. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding. It begins with curiosity. There has to be curiosity. There also has to be a neutrality that challenges what we decide is right or wrong, good or bad, truth or false. Something has to test, challenge, examine, assess, validate, or assimilate information. Something has to give pushback or pressure to what we hold as true or valuable information. To ask the question, who, what, when, where, why. We have to have a journalist in this world, in this life. A journalist who goes into the field of experience, mystery, crisis, whatever it is that we're evolving through, and give an honest feedback, an honest report, a truthful examination and report of what events are unfolding and the patterns that are noticed or realized in it. Someone has to spin the opposite direction. We need a rebel. We need a revolutionary. We need a truth sayer. We need someone to articulate and put words, terms, definitions, examination to what we may have overlooked. Critical thought is something that has been actively suppressed and scrutinized in our modern society. Cancel culture. Who will brave to challenge cancel culture? Who would dare to speak, think, or take a position that challenges the safe barriers behind cancel culture? Who would challenge and expose the crowd of conformity at Libra, where everyone has come to agreement in a safe place of the crowd's opinion, what everyone holds to be true, what people dare not say or think? Who's going to keep the truth alive? Dualities are constantly being examined in our reality, and not everybody has the courage to follow through on it. Not everybody has the guts to give a real report of what we're experiencing here in our society, in our world. And that could take place in many creative forms. We have spirits like Tupac, Kanye, Drewski, and so many others who find their own ways to be the journalists, their own ways to give the report, where it's not watered down, where it's not filtered, and there's no agenda behind it. But to actually make the mess that needs to be made, to cause the controversy that needs to be there, so that we can make true and authentic conclusions about our experiences and realities. Critical thought. We have to keep critical thought alive. We have to keep bold and courageous thought alive. Critical thought and bold thought that dares to challenge conformity. The safe thoughts, the safe words, the safe reactions, the safe expressions that keeps you safe behind the illusion of public opinion. Who will have the courage? You need a Gemini. You've got to have a Gemini. Revolutionary, bold, and rebellious. In the higher frequencies, always arriving at the conclusions that teach us wisdom and the conclusions that teach us love. But to get to wisdom, there has to be an alignment with power. And that means acknowledging where we have created of ourselves a crisis in disempowerment. We have to arrive at love, and that would mean confession of where we lack alignment with truth. Without courage, we don't get there. Without honesty, we don't get there. Without intelligence and the pattern recognition, we fail to notice what is critical, and the cycles continue in futility. There has to be a Gemini if we're to get to the truth. If we're to arrive at wisdom and love, we have to have the Gemini. Okay, so Aries, Chiron, Cazimi. This is when the sun conjuncts with Chiron at Aries. This is a turning point of healing. And the healing takes the context of clarity and relation. The point of clarity is understanding how the rejection, the inadequacy, the pain, the setbacks and blockages, the experiences that had you to feel like you were not good enough or you couldn't prevail to obtain your status at the MC or the 10th house where the sun is exalted. There could have been many frustrations, setbacks, blockages, and delays in your ability to feel like you're aligning with your heart, soul, urge expression, which is the meaning, value, and context of the numerical value on the day of month that you were born. So as it relates to this, it gives us insight. It gives us a realization of how all of these experiences that seem to be misfortunes are actually investments. They were investments into the light that you now realize you have with you. It was investment into the authenticity that allows you to shine sincerely, truthfully, and grounded in a real light that cannot be taken away from you. It cannot be destiny swapped. It also cannot be denied. It carries authority, it carries presence, and it is not something superficial. This is where we realize through the conjunction of the sun with Chiron that were it not for the delays, were it not for the enemies, were it not for those experiences that seemed to be in opposition to what I was attempting to manifest in my identity at the 10th house, which is my status, my reputation, my capacity to fulfill my duties and responsibilities that feel very natural to me, or that gives me a sense of fulfillment and meaning, purpose in my life, where I could feel like I'm part of what is meaningful. I'm a part of the unfolding of a legacy or the continuation of a legacy. It's your brand that you carry. You could have felt like you were denied aligning with this. You were denied the fair chance and opportunity to fulfill this part of your life, which has most to do with the 10th house, because the sun is exalted at the 10th house. It is the 10th house where we want to investigate and understand what is the pain that's behind this particular conjunction, and what does it mean to heal from this point on concerning this conjunction. So this is who you are in your status. This is who you are in the feeling that you have, and whether or not you are good enough or have enough, have what you need, or that you are what you need to be trustworthy, to be respected, or to be valued for who you know you came here to be, and for what you know you came here to show leadership to in this world, in this life. In the past, when you would motion for this experience, when you would strive for this status, every step that you took was quite painful. Every step that you took seemed like a denial or a rejection of your card. You swipe your card, you entered your code, and it says denied access. It says funds not available. It's like a humiliation ritual over a long period of time. And you're stepping back and you're asking yourself, I know this is my destiny. I know this is who I'm supposed to be. I know it is my birthright. I know that I have jurisdiction in what I'm attempting to exercise authority in. I know I have jurisdiction in what I'm attempting to show strength in. I know I'm more than able, I'm capable, but why do I continue to be denied, rejected, held back, blocked, or just simply confused, alienated from the status that I know I was born to be a warrior in that position? Well, there's a lot more to it that we have to consider. And among all of the things that there is to consider is when you don't earn it, when you don't have enemies en route to it, when you don't see battles and wars and challenges in that journey, when there's not resistance and assigned soul contracts and karmic contracts and bonds that are meant to teach you and exercise you, expose your demons and your weaknesses, your shadows. When you reach the 10th house, when you reach the MC in your life, you won't stand qualified to manage it, to preserve it, or especially defend it. You won't have what it takes to keep the crown. You won't have the skills, the strength, the fighting spirit, the wisdom to defend the fort, the castle that you conquered. You will lose your crown to someone who may be stronger, who may be wiser, or who may be better connected politically than you are. And you will fall from grace, and the fall will be devastating because you didn't learn anything on the way up that gives you the level of resilience that it takes to hold that post. It's not just about getting the throne, it's also about defending the throne. And the strength that you internalize, that you develop on the way up, the battles that you overcome and find victories, and even failures as well, all of this goes into the wisdom and the skill that it takes. The fighting spirit that it takes, the strength and courage that it takes to rest naturally with your nervous system, to rest sober, in your nervous system, to rest calm, cool, and calculated in your nervous system as you sit on the throne. Sitting on the throne, it refers to the rest that we have in our nervous system. It refers to the calm that we have in the position or the role of responsibility that's assigned to us. And what I mean by that calm is it's you knowing that you have what it takes. It's you knowing that no matter what happens, I'm prepared. There's no reason to fear. There's only reason to remain prepared. Going through these constant battles, fighting all of the enemies that are in that pathway, meeting all of the battles that are in that war. When you finally get that crown, when you finally rest on the throne of your destiny, you are not anxious for anything. You've burned away the anxiousness in the spirit. The anxiousness that would have tempted you to sell your soul for an outcome. The anxiousness that would have had you to allow yourself to be flattered out of clarity, to be flattered out of wisdom and sound judgment, to be lured into mischief or a position of useful idiocy because of your desperation, a lack of control over the lower self, the nervous system, to where you end up under the control of those who have learned these lessons. So it's timely, it was scheduled, and every event en route to that status at the MC, the midheaven, every battle en route to learning how to fulfill and meet the requirements and demands of the responsibilities and duties at the 10th house. It's you realizing that it was all worth it because now you feel that you have what it takes to maintain that status. You feel prepared for whatever possibilities, the range of possibilities that may come to challenge you on your throne. You feel prepared to deal with and handle calmly, soberly, and with wisdom, with strength and precision, with mastery, with control. Whatever may manifest unexpectedly, you can handle it, you can deal with it, you can maintain it. It's not enough to obtain it. You have to also be able to maintain it once you obtain it. So, none of this will read as confidence in ourselves if we didn't go through the pain, the suffering, the hardship, the humiliation, the disappointment, the upsets, the blockages, the rejection. It would mean nothing if we didn't go through those things before that we were given access to our destiny. Because then we would have reason to be concerned. Am I going to lose it? Am I going to fall from grace? Or do I even deserve this? That's a real thing. Do I deserve this? Everything can be given to you. You can have access to every door that you knock on. You can have win after win, success after success. But your soul may read, I don't deserve this. And what do you do when your soul reads, I don't deserve this? It sabotages the situation. It's like a kid who has a rich father, okay? The father's this rich executive, a lawyer, a judge, or, some filthy rich man. And the child grows up having everything that he could ask for. Everything's a yes. There's never a no. He doesn't earn anything. It's all given to him. And what does the soul do every time? What does the soul do? It says, you don't deserve this. You didn't earn it. You didn't suffer for this. You didn't sacrifice for this. You don't even know how to keep it. You don't know how to maintain it. So what ends up happening? The soul sabotages the situation every time. And that sabotage, it takes the form of, the kid may indulge in drugs. They may take their brand new sports car and abuse it, drive it into the ground. The car flips over and they're, on high speed chases from the cops and, getting arrested, all type of psychological issues. They drive their friends around and, hanging out with all kind of drug dealers and people who, are from the underworld or whatever. You're sabotaging yourself because you feel like you didn't earn it. It's self-sabotage. So the soul knows that it has to process itself. It has to go through Saturn. Saturn is the lord of the 10th house. Let's understand this. Saturn is the lord of the 10th house. So if the sun doesn't go through Saturn to obtain the status of the 10th house and the MC, the soul will sabotage the situation because the soul would then say, I didn't earn this. Why is that? Because it goes against universal law. It contradicts universal law. You must earn. You must earn. It's not just given. So this is us looking back, seeing that we earn the blessings that are coming. We earn the status that is coming. We earn the access that we now will have and obtain. And we're looking behind us and we're saying it was all worth it. This also shines light on gratitude and appreciation. Because now the dream is in view, the status is in view of who we really are at the 10th house, outside of the corporate illusion, outside of the corporate matrix. We have found our spiritual calling at the 10th house. We have found our spiritual status at the MC. It's in realization. The stellium in Aries has us to construct this, to take all of the initiatives to construct it into a full reality in our life. However, this is the soul realizing that I've allowed myself to align with Saturn to obtain what I know that my soul deserves, and I have no regrets. It was all worth it. Because now I feel prepared. I also feel worthy. I'm full of wisdom. I'm full of resilience. I'm full of strength. I have integrity with me. I'm trustworthy. I'm enduring. I'm more than able. I'm a conqueror. I'm a warrior. These are qualifications that has to go behind the king or the queen who sits at the 10th house, which you are the king or queen that sits at the throne of your 10th house and MC. This is like the story of David and Goliath. David's brothers went to the finest military schools in the land, okay? But God prepared David in his own way. David didn't go to the military school. He was a shepherd. But God has his own way of preparing his chosen. God has prepared you as chosen. This is the axis and timeline of the chosen, the underdogs who were going through those Saturn processes, those karmic Saturn transformations and tests and trials. As those with the false light were holding ownership of the world that we now are coming out of. And they fell from grace with the three phases that I've been explaining to you all, starting with Black Moon Lilith at Leo, and then South Node Libra, and then Capricorn Pluto transit exit. These three were the false lights of this world that now are the stars who fell from heaven. O Lucifer, how art thou fallen from heaven? These are the false lights Venus who obtained such status at 10th house and MC without earning it. As they were enjoying this time, exploiting themselves in the world and misleading themselves in the world, living corrupt and bringing corruption and darkness into the world, You were in that underworld, suffering those the residual effects that they were putting out into the world. You were suffering it. It was these very characters who were oppressing you, just like Joseph in the well. His brothers threw him in the well. You are that Joseph. And this is the turning point of Joseph. Joseph got thrown in the well. Joseph, was sexually harassed by the wife of the wealthy man who found him. He was accused and thrown in jail. And while in there, what did he do? He got in touch with the gift that God gave him. And you did the same thing. You got in touch with your gift while you were going through the darkness, while you were in the underworld. You've made it out of the underworld. And you're seeing that you had to go through the underworld to get in touch with your shadows, who have to sit at the throne with you because they are your warriors too. You had to get in touch with the truth of yourself and your inner child so that you don't need to seek others' guidance for decisions. You consult the conviction of your own soul. You learn to trust the oracle of your own spirit. You got in touch with God through the number 9 process, the hermit card, because that was the birth canal by which you had to come and relive a true reality out of that matrix. You are coming to the throne now. You, the ones who have the true light, are coming to the throne. And you're looking behind you, seeing that it was all worth it, that you actually earned it. You are actually qualified. You suffered the things that makes you qualified. Who would you rather stand behind as a king or a queen? Wouldn't you rather stand behind someone who's been on the battlefield? Who has the bullet wounds, the cuts, the scrapes, the blood spilling all over them? The ones who have faced betrayal and mutiny, enemies, jealousy, envy, sabotage, hatred, animosity, rejection, isolation, witch hunts, and all of the above. Yes, that's you. That's your story. And in the end, that's what makes you true. That's what makes you sincere. That's what makes you real. It's also what gives you a depth of compassion. It gives you a depth of wisdom. It gives you a depth of relatability. It gives you a depth of empathy by which you can judge. It makes you trustworthy. Your character has been cast and formed by adversity. Your spirit has been refined by adversity. Your love has been perfected by enemies, and your strength. This is the turning point. And as the sun conjuncts Chiron, what you are going to see is how the pain was simply an investment. The humiliation was an investment. The humiliation taught you humility. And the humility preserved your wisdom forever. With humility, you are forever wise. With humility, you are forever eternally knowledgeable because you're receptive. You are forever learning when you have humility. Everything and everyone is your teacher when you have humility. And every movement of your eye, and every sound that enters your ear, every interaction, every conversation, every moment of silence and stillness in which you reflect, humility makes you a student. 24/7, you are a student. So your knowledge enriches and riches and riches. It multiplies, it spreads, it expands, it illuminates, it intensifies. Even while you sit still, your knowledge grows. The depth of your wisdom grows. The suffering in you, it gave you deep compassion and empathy. Deep compassion and empathy. The deeper your suffering, the deeper your compassion. The more rejection that you had to overcome, the more advocacy that you're capable of for others. This is the expansion of Cancer that is in the polarity of the 10th house, which is where the sun is shining light to. But in opposition to that, which teaches us to incorporate and balance what is in opposition, it is the expansion of Cancer in 4th house, which is the inner constitution of the self that has been expanded by rejection, isolation, enemies, power struggles, karmics, twin flames, disappointment, betrayal. All of these Scorpio themes that taught us to embrace our shadows. This is a time of empowerment and a turning point of empowerment at the 10th house. And what this does, it gives you the courage, the enthusiasm, and the willingness to open up and receive greater responsibility. It gives you the strength to desire a duty that allows you a fulfilling life. It allows you to bear the weight of trust on your shoulders with honor. And this characterizes your leadership. It characterizes what's behind your leadership. So with that being said, if you have questions about this Chiron conjunction or this Chiron Cazimi, you want to schedule with me behind the scenes so that we can get personal notes and insights into what this can mean for you, especially as it relates to your heart, soul, urge expression or numerological expression of the day of month that you were born, as that is personal to you. It also relates to your sun placement, your rising sign, and your north node, because this also has to go in contrast with your life path. Understand? It's time now to celebrate what it took. It took a lot for you to get here. You've been through a lot. You've had many enemies, many battles, many wars, battle scars, war stories to tell. That's your testimony. It's time now to take pride in what it took, because you earned it. Sitting on the throne as a qualified person, a competent person, so that your story is more authentic and you will have the knowing that you will not be removed from your throne because you accepted what it took. It helps us to look at what were those enemies, what was against us. We would make a terrible mistake to externalize that observation. I say again, emphatically, we would make a terrible mistake to externalize that observation. You have to make an internal observation of who those enemies were or what those enemies were. They are indeed internal and they reflect external, because there has to be an external host to reflect it back to you so that you know how to fight it. That could have been through people close to you, colleagues, relationships of all kind. And I put it in the context of relationships because what is square to the 10th house? Okay? What is square to the 10th house? Where there is a crisis of demand, where there is constant crisis, constant sacrifices to be made, constant casualties, blockages, setbacks, disappointments, downfalls, painful and traumatizing experiences. You will have to look at the 7th house and you will have to look at the 1st house. That is the axis, Mars and Venus, Aries and Libra, first house and seventh house. This is the square to the 10th house, where the sun is exalted. So your heart soul urge numerical expression had enemies so that you could learn how to develop that expression, so that you could learn how to defend that expression, protect that expression, deliver that expression, champion that expression. We are known by our enemies. Our value cannot be determined without enemies. Our power cannot be evaluated without enemies. What were the enemies to that vibration? 1 through 9 and the master numbers 11, 22, 33. What were the enemies to these vibrations? 7th house, first house. Now everything has an escalation point. The escalation point for 7th house crisis would be in the 8th house. Intimate affairs. Circumstances where there is lines of trust, transparency, power dynamics. Codependencies, mutual dependence, vulnerabilities. What are some of the defense mechanisms when it comes to these? Obviously, are boundaries. When it comes to the crisis at the first house, what were the challenges there? You would have to investigate between the 12th house and the first house. That's the close proximation. At the 12th house, it's your own subconscious programming. It's what you constantly are saying and reinforcing to yourself, what you are selecting and consenting to as realities or truths for yourself. It's where the useful idiocy begins. It's where you begin to give away your power or not. The second house, your value system, where you construct your boundaries or realize the need for boundaries. Your self-esteem. Who you are when you're triggered in relation to what you value about yourself or life. These are things to investigate about the 10th house as we build up to this Cazimi, to reflect on these things. This is a claim of victory and what it took to get here. What it took. You went the right route. You went the correct way, which was to fight your way up that hill, to battle your way to that throne, to sit on that throne. Every battle, every war, every fight, every struggle, it prepared you to sit at the throne in competence, in clarity, with sobriety, wisdom, inner peace. It has you to sit at the throne with a knowing that it is indeed your jurisdiction, and accepting the responsibility and accountability, the moral obligation that comes with the jurisdiction of the identity. The status claim, status correction. Follow me. Listen to me. Come on. What is behind all of that? Status correction and jurisdiction. Obviously, it is the estate. Being connected to the 5th house. Being connected to the legacy. Connected to who you are as the ascendant of the 4th house. The one who succeeds the 4th house. The one who succeeds your ancestors. The legacy of your demographic, your society, your nation, your people. your family, your lineage, your mothers, your fathers, your forefathers. There is a lot taking place as victories at the same time, simultaneously, but we have to become aware of the spiritual value, the spiritual activity behind the illusions of this dense reality matrix. We have got to see it and be in tune with it. We have to honor it. You fought your way up that hill. If you didn't fight your way up that hill, if you didn't have those battles, if you didn't have those disappointments, that humiliation, setbacks, confusion, enemies, betrayal, isolation, if you didn't experience these things, you wouldn't be qualified to sit at that throne. You wouldn't be authorized because you wouldn't have the authority internalized. An institution can assign authority to you, but do you carry the authority within the self? They can empower you, but do you carry power in yourself? There's a big difference. How many times have you seen where an incompetent person is given authority? An incompetent person is given power. What do they do with that authority? What do they do with that power? They either abuse it or they fail to show the strength to uphold it and execute it with wisdom or competence, strength, self-control, wisdom, sensitivity. It's like a police officer who never had a fist fight, a police officer who never been through anything, a police officer whose threshold of fight or flight or threat is very sensitive. That's a dangerous person. They have a badge, they have a gun, but they never been through anything. So fear has them to be trigger happy. Fear has them to be very sensitive in the threshold of fight or flight. They see threat in every little thing and they overreact, and next thing you know, they're killing somebody. The same thing happened on a train 2 years ago in New York City. There was I think his name was Penny. He was an ex-Marine or Marine, forever a Marine. He was a Marine on a train in New York City, and there was this, homeless guy who was, going around threatening people and, acting a donkey. This is the norm in New York City. Okay, this is the norm. You ignore somebody, you ignore them, and you go about your business. 9 out of 10 times, they're not going to bother you. But for whatever reason, he decided to go the vigilante route. And in going the vigilante route, he overdid it. He overdid it. You have training as a Marine. And you can't, with the assistance of other grown men standing around, which it was other grown men around, you can't subdue someone or put somebody in a lock, a hold, a chokehold, or whatever else. And because you panic, because your threshold of fight or flight is so sensitive, your nervous system has not been expanded. You overreact, you hold them too long, and you kill them. It's because you're nervous. I know this because I'm a fighter. I grew up as a fighter. I've been fighting all my life. I've been in violence all my life. Shootouts, guns, fighting, street shit. I've been through all that all my life. So I know what he was feeling, and I know what he was thinking. When you get scared, when you get nervous, you overdo things. You overreact. You lose sensitivity. That's why a lot of these cops out here and vigilantes who are not built for that, they overdo it. You're a Marine. There's no way that you couldn't have the sensitivity or the nervous system to tell you that you're going too far. It's enough to control them, give instruction, and exercise your Marine-like leadership to the people around you and say, hold his legs, or you hold his arm. I'm going to let him go, and we're going to pin him down until the cops come or whatever. No, you're just going to choke him until he dies. It's things like that that will have you at the 10th house destroying shit, practicing corruption and oppression, injustice, abuse, pulverizing everything. Because your nervous system has not been conditioned to manage it with competent sensitivity and wisdom. There's no control. You have to have control. You have to have command of your nervous system. There's a different context for every sign, impulse through planets or planetary aspects in your 1st and 7th house axis, which is square to your 10th house. So along this line, you get to understand what some of those battles were meant for. It was meant for the illumination of the 7th house and the illumination of the 1st house. And specifically, it was meant to incorporate a Saturnian accountability to the 7th house and 1st house. Understand that, Saturn, okay? Because what this does is Saturn connects a positive outcome between that square of the 10th house, 1st house, and 7th house. In opposition to that is Libra. That's the polarity to that crisis. Opposition tells us to incorporate. It tells us to find the balance. It tells us to harmonize. It tells us to negotiate and compromise. It tells us to find the middle ground. We had to learn that. We could have been stubborn at that point, non-negotiable, unwilling to compromise. It helps to do a close look at the 12th house and 6th house axis. This is the axis of hidden and open enemies. The hidden enemies are always internal impulses that we have not yet named, that we have not yet identified, that we have not yet come to understand are there. Once we name it, now our authority over it begins. It begins at the point of our ability to name those impulses. Even if they are in shadow, even if they are in detriment, even if they are of the 7 sins rather than the 7 virtues. We have a responsibility to transmute them into 7 virtues. To transmute the darkness into light of each planet, impulse, or aspect and or spiritual algorithm of zodiac sign at the 12th house. We have to transform it into illumination. And that's how crisis, undoings, self-sabotage, it evolves into deep compassion, empathy, wisdom, understanding, and love. Universal love, unconditional love. The context that we give at the 12th house to those impulses, aspects, or algorithms, it requires our consent to manifest in form, in physical being, in activity, in practice, in behavior at the 6th house. Open enemies. The things that we do, the things that we give energy to, the habits that we have, that works against our destiny, that becomes points of trampling and distraction en route to our destiny, the things that cause us to become undone, unhealthy. It weakens us, blinds us. It erodes or corrupts our character. As the 6th house ascends to the character, it is trine to the 10th house. Understand, it is trine to the 10th house. It is meant to build the character, to perfect the character, to cure the character, to heal the character, to nurture the character, the 6th house, that which you do every day. Thoughts become decisions, decisions become habits, habits become patterns, and patterns become behaviors, and that becomes character, and character ultimately becomes destiny. Understand. That's the relationship of the 6th house and the 10th house. Numerology is very important to observe in this. In the present moment, we have to make the comparison of the personal numerological year that we are in, understanding that it serves as a bridge of realization that goes between the status claim and status correction. This is a bridge. So what personal numerological year are you in? This is the key energy that allows you to go through that tunnel of the matrix into the true spiritual reality of your destiny and status claim. Very important to remember. In other words, that is the energy that transfers you from Pisces into Aries. It's the energy that helps you to initiate who you are as a concept into who you are as a being. Concepted being. Pisces, the concept, Aries, being. Initiatives of the being. Bringing it from spirit into subjugation to the laws of physics in our reality. We are the creators. Know ye not that ye are all gods. Becoming intentional with this. Remember your testimony in this. As the sun conjuncts Chiron, this Chiron Cazimi, this is realization of your testimony. This is the testimony behind your 10th house status, your 10th house claim, your MC status, your MC claim. This is what authorizes you for that throne, for that status, for that notoriety, for that brand of yourself that you're claiming as legacy. It's your war stories, your battle scars that you are appreciating. You're looking at those bullet keloids in your arm. You're looking at where you had stitches, where you had a black eye, where you suffered this and you suffered that, and you're taking pride in that because you're cherishing what it took. You're appreciating what it took. You're also taking value in the enemies who trained you, the enemies who were assigned to you to develop you and train you, to perfect you, to temper you. They didn't come for nothing. They were there to teach you, to temper you. There are many people who are assigned to get close enough to you to trigger you, to show you what demons were hiding in you, to show you what weaknesses that you had, to show you what illnesses that you had to heal, to reveal to you what legacy of generational curses were still with you to heal. And in this particular cycle of the sun Cazimiing Chiron, it has a lot to do with the context of Cancer Mars retrograde and Scorpio stellium. That is shadow work, Scorpio stellium. The truth of the self that has been suppressed, that has left you feeling disempowered through shame, rejection, scrutiny, and threat of rejection and isolation, removing of love, if I should be who I am, or the witch hunts that will come if I should tell you the truth, or if I should stand and side with the truth and not conform with what the scrutiny of public opinion would have to say. Libra, South Node, which has fallen. This also goes back to Cancer Mars, the crisis of the inner child that feminism has placed us in, those cycles. And a lot of you are still struggling to accept that this is indeed what we are passing through. You're having a hard time stomaching that we are indeed healing what feminism has done to us and what corporate greed, lust, and attachment has done to us. Many of you are still struggling to accept that as the very truth. The inner child struggles that have carried through the family as generational curses, crisis with the mothers, and nurturing figures in early childhood, fourth house issues that have continued on, that we now have become the ones to change the course of that, to heal it. And the rejection, the scrutiny, the hate, the witch hunts that come along with it. These are revolutionary times. And it requires Sagittarius Black Moon Lilith to see us out or to close this cycle.